Good morning. When I was 17, I read a quote that went something like this. If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you will most certainly be right. It made an impression on me, and since then, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment and failure, these things just fall away in the face of them, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die together. And yet, that's the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. And that is as it should be. Because death is very likely the single best invention of life. It is life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, the new is you. But someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, but it is quite true. Your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinion drown your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and the intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is set aside. Thank you.
It was great just watching you. Every day was like a privilege. Did the time come for you to be your own man and take on the world? And you did. But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world is not all sunshine and full of rainbows. It is a very mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are, and it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you are worth, then go out and get what you are worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you are not where you want to be because of him, her, or anybody. Cowards do that and that is not you. You're better than that. You're the best thing in this life, but until you start believing in yourself, you are not going to have a life.
It's almost impossible to go through life without experiencing some kind of failure. Failure is a part of life. Everyone has experienced failure at some time or other. Only a man who knows what it is like to be defeated can reach down to the bottom of his soul and come up with the extra ounce of power it takes to win when the match is even. Legendary boxer Muhammad Ali had once declared. Yet, the greatest barrier to success and one of the biggest fears in life that people have is fear of failure. It is the major reason that holds back people from realizing their full potential and achieving their goals. Fear of failure immobilizes you, restricts you to your comfort zone, prevents you from moving forward in life, and hampers your chances of success. Defeat is not easy to swallow. There is no worse feeling than facing failure. Failure leaves you bitter, miserable, and depressed. It is not then difficult to understand why most people are afraid of failing. They prefer to play it play it by safe by restricting themselves to comfort zone and avoiding any risks. But playing it safe can also be risky. It puts you out of action. You choose to forego potential opportunities and push yourself into mediocrity. When you restrict yourself to your cocoon, you keep yourself from tapping your full potential. Failure is a matter of perspective. Many think of failure as the opposite of success, but failure are in fact the stepping stones of success. Nothing worthwhile in life has ever been achieved without a series of failures. Failure is, as James Allen has rightly pointed out, one of the pathways to attainment. Successful people also make mistakes. They also fail, but they don't give up. Instead, they remain steadfast. They overcome their fear of failure and are quick to learn from their mistakes. As Emerson said, life is a series of experiments. The more you make, the better. Each failure is a trial and an experiment and an opportunity for growth. Even if the failure costs you financially, the educational benefits can far outweigh the loss. Overcoming a failure is a major factor toward the achievement of goals. The highly successful people are not the most intelligent, most gifted, or blessed. They are just ordinary people who view failures as temporary speed breakers on the road to success. They are successful because they have developed a skill of learning from their mistakes and are willing to move out of their comfort zone and take calculated risks. When you try, there is no guarantee that you will succeed. But if you don't try, you are sure to fail. So don't let the fear of failure hold you back from reaching out of your goals. The key to success is not avoiding failure, but to overcome the fear of failure. Learn from your failure and use them to build yourself up. Failure should be our teacher, not our undertaker. Failure is delay, not defeat. It is temporary detour, not a dead end.
Good morning. In less than an hour, aircraft from here will join others from around the world. And you will be launching the largest aerial battle in this history of mankind. Mankind, that word should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interests. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 24th of July and you will once again fight for our freedom, not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist, and should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day. Thank you.
I hate nice girls. If they so much as say hello, it stays on my mind. If they return texts, my heart races. The day one calls me, I know I look at my call history and breathe. But that's just them being nice. People who are nice to me are also nice to everyone else. I almost end up forgetting that. If the truth is cruel, then lies must be kind. That's why kindness is a lie. I gave up on always expecting it, always mistaking it, and even hoping for it. Someone who's worked hard at being alone doesn't fall for the same effect twice. I'm a veteran at this. I'm the best when it comes to losing. That is why I'll always be nice girls.
My message today is titled Life is Hard, and it's about how to live a great life despite the fact that it is difficult. Everybody wants to be happy in life. We all want to live a perfect life. We want a great job or a successful business. We want to be married to Mr. Right or even Mrs. Perfect. We want to have great kids. We want to have friends that stick by us, come rain or shine. We want to be able to have all the material things in life has to offer and have all the problems just disappear. Everybody wishes for a good life. It may be at different levels, But one person may define a good life one way and another may describe it another way. For one person, a good life may be just having 3 meals a day and a roof over their head. But for another, it may be having a huge mansion and a couple of $1 million in the bank. There are different levels and meanings to what a good life is. But whatever your definition of it, there is perhaps one thing that you may have in common with many other people. You may want good life stress-free. You would like to have it without having to work so hard or struggle so much for it. That is a normal human expectation. Nobody likes to struggle through life. Unfortunately, that is also maybe stopping you from having that great life. The thought of all that work, all that planning, overcoming hurdles and struggles can all seem too overwhelming, and for many, it all just doesn't seem to be worth it. It's like being drained of energy just at the thought of running a marathon. Before you are even at the starting line, the thought of all that running just scares you and tires you so much mentally. You just decide not to go for it, and because it's just too hard. One of my favorite books entitled The Less Traveled by Scott Peck, the first sentence in the book is, "Life is difficult." Now, if you pick a book and the first thing it tells you that life is difficult, you may just think, is this book going to be reassuring and encouraging me after such time? But as Peck goes on to explain, once you accept that life is hard, it no longer becomes an issue that it is difficult. He says, once we know that life is difficult, once we truly understand and accept that life is no longer difficult. In life, you will have difficulties getting anything you want. It is very rare to get anything in life without some degree of effort. Only if you win the lottery will you have everything without effort. And even then, you would have had to go out and buy the lottery ticket anyway, so it's not for free at all. But that's okay. It's normal. That's what being human all about. That's what life is all about. Life is hard. Accept that. Once you do, you will feel better about your circumstances. Then, you won't think of your situation as anything but what is common to every human being. Then you will think of your situation as part of your life. You will no longer beat yourself up about how bad things or how you are not doing so well in one area or another. You will realize that you are only human. You make mistakes just like everybody else. You are not perfect just like everybody else. But don't stop there. Accepting that life is hard does not mean that you accept every circumstances and simply go with the flow. You see, there are two sides of this story. There is another side to this coin. On the side of the coin is where you have the words, life is hard, inscribed. But if you turn that coin over, you will find very small but powerful words that, I quote, you can make it better. That is one of the beautiful things about life. You can make your life better. You have total responsibility for what you do and how you respond to the fact that life is hard. And then now, the cliche saying goes, if life hands you lemon, then make lemonade. Accepting that life is hard comes with accepting that you have the responsibility to make it better. Not only do you have the responsibility to make it better, but also you have the ability and the power to make it better. You always have choices. No matter what situation you are in, you have a choice. No matter how bad things are, you have a choice. No matter what you think you can or cannot do, you still have a choice. Now, it may not be an easy choice by any means. It may be a very difficult choice, and the road you decide to make may be a tough one. It may push you way out of your comfort zone. It may mean that the initial period of your life may get even harder than it is already. But it is a choice nonetheless. A lot of times, you will actually find that the choices are not as hard as you thought they were. You may just have struck off your mind from seeing those choices and possibilities because you thought you had no choice. Once you become open to the idea that you are responsible for your life and that you have choices, you will find that you are no longer stuck just between life is hard. Thank you.
The distinguished honors to the athletes who made for our country, especially for gold medalists, to the Black Americans, and to my family, good morning. To those who will laugh at me, first, thank you. Without you, I wouldn't have cried. To those who couldn't just love me, thank you. Without you, I wouldn't have known the real love. To those of you who hurt my feelings, thank you. Without you, I wouldn't have felt them. To those of you who left me behind or alone, thank you. Without you, I wouldn't have discovered myself. But it is to those of you who though I couldn't do it. It is you I thank the most. Because without you, I wouldn't have tried. We used to have a lot of fun. We never had any problem. We always ate. The fact that we didn't eat have the steak. What steak? We all have dreams. In order to make dreams come into reality, it takes an awful a lot of determination, dedication, self-discipline, and effort. Friendships are born into the field of athletics, stripes and the real goal of competition. Awards become recorded and corroded. The friends gather snow dust. Find the good, it's all around you. Find it, showcase it, and you'll start believing it. For a time, at least, I was the most famous person in the world. I always loved running. It was something you could do by yourself and under your own power. You could go in any directions, fast or slow as you wanted. Fighting the wind if you felt like it. It's seeking out the new sights just on the strength of your feet and your power lungs. If you don't try to win, you might as well hold the Olympics in somebody's backyard. One wants to win to prove himself the best. One chance is all you need. People come out to see and you perform your job and give them the best you have within in you and to the environment. The lives of the most than men are partwork quilts or the best one, matching outfit with the closet and the laundry bag full of encourages and accommodations. And that moment, a lifetime of training for just 10 seconds. Once again, I'm Jesse Owens. Good morning.
I say to you today, my friends, that in spite of the difficulties and frustrations of the moment, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day, this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day, on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at a table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a desert state, sweltering with the heat of injustice and oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, the state of Alabama, whose governor seats are presently dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, will be transformed into a situation where little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls and walk together as brothers and sisters. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, and the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. Thank you.
Sunny ways, my friends, sunny ways. This is what positive politics can do. This is what a positive, a hopeful vision and a platform and a team together can make happen. Canadians from all across this great country sent a clear message tonight. It's time for a change in this country. My friends, a real change. I also want to specifically thank my good friends, Katie Telford and Gerald Bass. Katie and Jerry are two of the smartest, toughest, hardest working people you will ever meet. They share with me the conviction that politics doesn't have to be negative and personal to be successful. That you can appeal to the better angels of our nature and you can win while doing it. Tonight, my very good friends, we proved that. I hope it is an inspiration to like-minded people to step up and pitch in, to get involved in the public life of this country, and to know that the positive, optimistic, hopeful vision of public life isn't a new dream. It can be a powerful force for change. I also want to thank the incredible volunteers that made tonight happen. Over 80,000 Canadians got involved in the core of this campaign. They knocked on their neighbors' doors, they made this campaign. Now, this movement we built was fueled by these amazing volunteers. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. Now I want to take a moment to speak about my colleagues across the aisle. Tonight, I received phone calls from all of them, including Mr. Harper. Stephen Harper has served this country for a decade. And as with anyone who has devoted their life toward this country, we thank him for his service. Now, over the course of this campaign, I had the opportunity to have a couple of brief personal conversations with him about our families. It reminded me of the extraordinary and unique sacrifices that are made by anybody who serves this country at the highest levels. And I want to remind everyone, as I've said many times over the course of this campaign, conservatives are not enemies. They are neighbors. Leadership is about bringing people of all different perspectives together. I didn't make history tonight. You did. And don't let anyone tell you any different. I know that I am on stage tonight for one reason and one reason only. Because you put me here. And you gave me clear marching orders. You want a government that works as hard as you do. One that is focused every minute of every day on growing the economy, creating jobs and strengthening the middle class. One that is devoted to helping less fortunate Canadian families work their way into the middle class. You want a Prime Minister who knows Canada is a country strong, not in spite of our differences, but because of them. A Prime Minister who never seeks to divide Canadians, but takes every single opportunity to bring us together. You want a Prime Minister who knows that if Canadians are to trust their government needs to trust Canadians. A Prime Minister who understands that openness and transparency means better, smarter decisions. You want a Prime Minister that knows that a renewed nation-to-nation relationship with Indigenous peoples that respects rights and honors treaties must be the basis for how we work to close the gap and move forward together. To her I say this, you and your fellow citizens have chosen a new government. A government that believes deeply in the diversity of our country. We know in our bones that Canada was built by people from all corners of the world who worship every faith, who belong to every culture, and who speak every language. We believe in our hearts that this country's unique diversity is a blessing bestowed upon us by previous generations of Canadians. Canadians who stared down prejudice and fought discrimination in all its forms. We know that our inviolable influence in society didn't happen by accident and won't continue without effort. I have always known this. Canadians know it too. If not, I might have spoken earlier this evening and give a very different speech. Have faith in your fellow citizens, my friends. They are kind and generous. They are open-minded and optimistic. And they know in their heart of hearts that a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. My friends, we beat fear with hope. We beat cynicism with hard work. We beat negative, divisive politics with a positive decision that brings Canadians together. Most of all, we defeated the idea that Canadians should be satisfied with less. That good enough is good enough and that better just isn't possible. Well, my friends, this is Canada. And in Canada, better is always possible. Thank you and good evening.
Sometimes, life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love. And that is as true for your work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking until you find it. Don't settle. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something. Your God, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinion drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Thank you very much.
A short speech on love. It is all too easy when our deepest friendship is torn to believe all the love is gone out of our lives. To have someone mean so much, then mean nothing at all, always threaten us to tear us apart. Our hearts and heads tell us the same story of hate, lies that our lives have lost meaning, a tunnel vision that threatens to consume us. When we are broken inside, it's easy to forget the love in our lives. The love that is true never leaves us. The love of friends, the love of brothers, the love of sisters, the love of mothers, the love of fathers, and the love of God. Yet, in the midst of the gaping hole in our hearts, tormenting us, it is no wonder that all these loves seem to shrink, to not save us from here, hatred of ourselves and the world. It's all too easy to dismiss broken love as the folly of the young. Freed love is something one must pick oneself up from with ease, lest they be considered weak by themselves or others. Rather than seek blame, seek the comfort of love when it has forsaken you in one form. Bonds of friendship, of family, of loving Creator are not bonds easily broken. However, when they are find the ones in your life who love you and live in the comfort of being,
Find meaning in your loved ones. Find peace in their arms. Find love where it can be found, for it is scarce. Thank you.
Okay, I watched the effect my father's love and humor had on the world around me, and I deeply thought, that's something to do. That's something worth my time. When I was about 28, after a decade as a professional comedian, I realized one night in LA that the purpose of my life has always been to free people from concern. I did something that made people present their best selves to me wherever I go. How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out. I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Because ultimately, we're not the avatars we create. We're not the images on the film stock. We're the light that shines through it. All else is just smoke and mirrors. Distracting, but not truly compelling. That peace that we're after lies somewhere beyond personality, beyond the perception of others, beyond invention and disguise, and even beyond personality itself. You can join the game, fight the wars, play with form all you want, but to find true peace, you have to let the armor fall. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory. I've often said that I wished people could realize all their dreams of wealth, fame, fortune, so that they could realize that's not where you'll find your sense of completion. Like many of you, I was concerned about going out in the world to do something bigger than myself, until someone smarter than myself made me realize there's nothing bigger than myself. Our eyes are not only viewers, but also projectors that are running a second story over the picture we see in front of us all the time. Fear is writing that script, and the working title is, I'll Never Be Enough. I'm just making a conscious choice to perceive challenges as something beneficial, so that I can do things more productively. You'll come up with your own style. It's part of the fun. Leaving a quote to you that says, life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. You will only ever have two choices, love and fear. Choose love, and don't let fear turn you against your playful heart. Just relax. Think of a good life. Because many of us spend our whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about our pathways to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. So many of us choose our path, fear disguises practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. I'm the proof that you can ask the universe for it. Now, some of us fear everything that we do because we might fail at anything, but you know you can fail at what you want to do. Just do it. And as Mr. Bill Gates said, nothing is impossible for a dreamer. Thank you and congratulations.
Half a century of oppression, tyranny, and cruelty had passed. Foreign battleships, artillery, and military left our land. Our flag raised in full dignity and colors. An independent government formed and fortified by laws. A nation formed by people with its own rights, language, and identity to be proud of. The Philippines is free at last. Or is it? Corruption, poverty, dirty politics, and other national problems, both minor and major, are present and imminent nowadays. Moral and character crisis is sweeping around the country. We are in need for a change that will not come from others, but with you. We have to eradicate the image of a common Filipino, which is still bound to be the old culture of being idle and going through the flow. We have to become a new Filipino, bound with a new culture of being disciplined, righteous, and persevering. A new Filipino which is honest and loyal. A new Filipino full of patriotism for his country. The Filipino youth is the answer and the fulfillment of his dream. We will be the future leaders and forerunners of this nation. The future of our country is at our hands, and it is on a hanging balance. If we fail to change, our country will continue to deteriorate. But if we succeed, our country will shine again in its full glory. So why is it that I'm persuading you to change? What is the true dilemma of our society? The truth is, corruption and other problems are just contributors in the deterioration of our country. Our culture is the one to be blamed of. Many countries, such as the Koreas, were once full of corrupt political leaders, but where are they now? They rose as the 13th largest economy in the world. The secret lies in the culture of being hardworking. We too have our own hardworking people, but what becomes imminent is the culture of consumerism. We tend to consume our gains faster than we produce. We don't think for the future but just think of today. Many say that immigrating and Filipinos abroad must go back and work for their country instead. But what is the use of patriotism if their stomachs are empty? We have to admit that our minimum wage is so low for a growing economy tied up with growing population, trend that eats up our economic gains and low job availability or job mismatch. Filipinos also tend to give importance to white-collar jobs and ignore blue-collar jobs like wedding, gardening, and etc., which are the basic jobs in a society. We also didn't pursue agrarian reform like what our Asian neighbors had done like Japan and Taiwan to give importance and lift the current situation of our peasants and farmers. We also lack in implementation. Our laws are nearly perfect but cannot be implemented and enforced properly. These are the problems of our society and do not need an immediate change. The effects of these problems tend to amplify because of the culture of idleness. There was a time I passed along the slums of Katarman early morning and saw how the people there are just so idle, sitting, gambling, and even drinking alcoholic drinks early morning. They are just wasting time and energy doing nothing instead of searching for opportunities. This culture is perpetuating and sometimes we even take pride on it uttering the quote, Filipinos are lazy people. These problems are also sometimes considered as the norm. Because everyone does it, I will do it. A common idea of Filipinos. We are also great show-offs. We are always fond of extravagant clothes, bags, and shoes with expensive product line. We are always saying that we love our country and we are proud of it, but do nothing to save it from its limits. These effects conjugate together and form an impassable barrier towards a better future. The enemy and the one to be blamed for are our own selves. And we have the capacity and the decision to change and prosper. Reform in the educational sector can be an answer to these problems. On 100 kids, only 5 will proceed to college and 2 will have decent jobs. If we focus on education, we can and we will purge the root cause of these problems. Social revolutions can also be done through induced reform. Not the bloody one, but the peaceful one. But I am not provoking a revolution to overthrow the government, but a revolution inside ourselves. Educational reforms and social revolutions will not succeed if we ourselves will not change our attitude, values, and perspectives in life. The sole solution to these problems is a change within, a change that will start at us, a change that will create an unbreakable chain of changes among others, and a change that will break that impossible barrier. We can become a new Filipino, And when that day comes, I assure you, the Philippines is free at last. Thank you.
Hey! Everybody seems to be staring at me. You, all of you. How dare you to stare at me? Why? Is it because I'm a bad girl? A bad girl I am? A good-for-nothing teenager? A problem child? That's what you call me? I smoke. I drink. I gambled at my young tender age. I lie. I cheat. I could even kill if I had to. Yes, I'm a bad girl. But where are my parents? You are my good parents? My good elder brothers and sisters in this society where I live? Look at me. What have you done to me? You have pampered and spoiled me, neglected me when I need you the most, entrusted me to a yaya whose intelligence was lower than mine. Will you go about your parties, your meetings, and gambling sessions? Thus, I drifted away from you, longing for a father's love, yearning for a mother's care. As I grow up, everything's changed. You too have changed. You spend more times on your pokers, mahjong tables, bars, and nightclubs. You even landed in the headlines of the newspaper as crook, peddlers, and racketeers. Now, you call my name? Accuse me of everything I do to myself? Tell me how good you are. If you really wish to ensure my future, then hurry back home, where I wait you because I need you. Protect me from all evil influences that will threaten at my every own understanding. But if I am bad, really bad, then you've got to help me. Help me. Oh please, help me.
Speech. All the words are staged by William Shakespeare. All the words are staged, and all men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first, merely and creeping in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with the satchel, and his shining morning face creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful band, made to his business idle. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and burdened like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly with good cap on limb, with eye severe and bird of formal cut, full of wine, sauce, and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The 6'8" ship's heels, but into the lean and slippery pantaloon, with spectacles on some and pickle on side. His youthful host, well, safe world too wide for his shrunk son, and his big manly voice turning again toward childish treble, pipes, and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all, that ends this strange eventful history in second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
I have myself full confidence that if all do their duty, if nothing is neglected, and if the best arrangements are made as their PH made, we shall prove once again able to defend our island home, to ride out the storm of war, and to outlive the tyranny, if necessary for years, if necessary alone. At any rate, that is what we are going to try to do. That is the result of His Majesty's government, every man of them. That is the will of Parliament and the nation. The British Empire and the French Republic, linked together in their cause and in their need, will defend to the death their native soil, aiding each other like good comrades to the utmost of their strength. Even though large tracts of Europe and many old and famous states have fallen or may fall into the grip of the Gestapo and all the odious apparatus of Nazi rule, we shall not flag or fail
We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight in the seas and the oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island. Whatever the cost may be, we shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. And even if, which I do not for a moment believe, this island or a large part of it were subjugated and starving, then our empire beyond the seas, armed and guarded by the British fleet, would carry on the struggle until in God's good time, the new world, with all its power and might, steps forth to the rescue and the liberation of the old. Thank you.
The great thing about life is that as long as we live, we have the privilege of growing. We can learn new skills, engage in new kinds of work, devote ourselves to new causes, make new friends. If only we will exercise a little initiative and refuse to become fixed, rigid before our time. Let us then learn how to accept ourselves. Accept the truth that we are capable in some directions and limited in others. That genius is rare, that mediocrity is the portion of almost all of us, but that all of us can contribute from the storehouse of our skills to enrichment of our common life. Let us accept our emotional frailties, knowing that every person has a phobia lurking with his mind, and that normal person is he who is willing to accept life with its limitation and its opportunities joyfully and courageously. Not only we must accept ourselves, but we must also change ourselves. Until the day of our death, we can change. We can tap hidden resources in our makeup. We can discipline ourselves to turn from morbid circle of useless self-pity or enslavement to childish frustration and begin to give our energy to other people, to a cause, a movement, a great social enterprise. In such service, we can find freedom from ourselves and liberty from our fears.
Education, then, beyond all other devices of human origin, is a great equalizer of the conditions of men. Horace Mann, 1848. At the time of his remarks, I couldn't read, couldn't write. Any attempt to do so, punishable by death. For generations, we have known of knowledge infinite power. Yet somehow, we've never questioned the keeper of the keys, the guardians of information. Unfortunately, I have seen more dividing and conquering in this order of operations. A heinous miscalculation of reality. For some, the only difference between a classroom and a plantation is time. How many times must we be made to feel like quotas? Like tokens in coin phrases? Diversity, inclusion. There are days I feel like one, like only a lonely blossom in a briar patch of broken promises. But I've always been a thorn in the side of injustice. Disruptive, talkative, a distraction. With a passion that transcends the confines of my consciousness, beyond your curriculum, beyond your standards. I stand here, a manifestation of love and pain, with veins pumping revolution. I am the strange fruit that grew too ripe for the poplar tree. I am a dream actor, dream deferred incarnate. I am a movement, an amalgam of memories America will care to forget. My past alone won't allow me to sit still, so my body, like the mind, cannot be contained. As educators, rather than raising your voices over the rustling of our chains, take them off. Uncuff us of poverty and privilege, policy and ignorance. I was in the 7th grade when Miss Parker told me, We can put your excess energy to good use. And she introduced me to the sound of my own voice. She gave me a stage, a platform. She told me their stories are ladders that make it easier for us to touch the stars. So climb and grab them. Keep climbing, grab them. Spill your emotions in a bit deeper and pour out your soul. Light up the world with your luminous allure. To educate requires Galileo-like patience. Today, when I look my students in the eyes, all I see are constellations. If you take the time to connect the dots, you can plot the true shape of their genius, shining in their darkest hour. I look each of my students in the eyes and see the same light that align Orion's belt and the pyramids of Giza. I see the same twinkle that guided Harriet to freedom. I see them. Beneath their mask and mischief exists an authentic frustration and enslavement to your standardized assessment. Are we not astronomers looking for the next shooting star? I teach in hopes of turning content into rocket ships, tribulations into telescopes, so a child can see their potential from right where they stand. And injustice is telling them they are stars. Without acknowledging night that surrounds them, injustice is telling them education is the key, while you continue to change the laws. Education is no equalizer. Rather, it is the sleep that precedes the American dream. So wake up. Wake up. Lift your voices until you patch every hole in a child's broken sky. Wake up every child so they know of their celestial potential. Absorbing everything without allowing my light escape. But those days are done. I belong among the stars. And so do you. And so do they. Together we can inspire galaxies of greatness for generations to come. No, sky is not the limit. It is only the beginning. Lift up. Thanks so much.
I'm very humbled to be here tonight. I met so many extraordinary artists. My mother loved to art. She loved film. She supported any crazy things I did. But when I haven't had a meeting, she made a point of telling me that was film her for. She never had a career as an artist. She never had an opportunity to express herself beyond his theater class. But she wanted more for herself. She wanted for Jamie and I to know what it is to have a life of an artist. And she gave us that chance. She drove in our every auditions and she waited in the car for hours, always making me feel good when I didn't get the job. And when I did it, we would jump up and down and scream and yell like a little girls. She wasn't really best creative. Scenes, she never really had anything unkind to say. But she did give me love and confidence. Above all, she was very clear that nothing would mean anything if I didn't have a life of use to others. And I didn't know that meant for a long time. I came to this business young and worried about my own experience, my own pain. And that's when I only began to travel, to look and live beyond my home, that I understand the responsibility to others. When I met the survivors of war and famine and rape, I learned what it's like alive for most people in this world. How fortunate I was. I have food to eat, roof over my head, a safe place to live, and the joy of having a family safe and healthy. And I realized how sheltered I have been. I was determined that I'm never gonna live that way again. We are all, everyone in this room, are so fortunate. I have never understood why some people are lucky enough to be born with the chance that I have, with this path in life. And across the world, principled woman just like you, with the same abilities and the same desires, the same work ethic and love for her family, who would most likely make a better films and better speeches. Only when she sits on a refugee camp and she has no voice. She worries about her children will eat, how to keep them safe, and if they ever have been home. I don't know why this is my life and that's hers. I don't understand that, but I will do as my mother asks, and I will do my best as I can. And this life ought to be used. And to stand here today means I did what she asked. If she were alive, she would be very proud. So thank you for that.
Gentlemen of the jury, the best friend a man has in the world may turn against him and become his enemy. His son or daughter that has reared with loving care may prove ungrateful. Those who are nearest and dearest to us, those whom we trust with our happiness and our good name, may become traitors to their faith. The money that a man has, he may lose. It flies away from him, perhaps when he needs it most. A man's reputation may be sacrificed in a moment of ill-considered action. The people who are prone to fall on their knees to do us honor when success is with us may be the first to throw a stone of malice when failure settles the clouds upon our heads. The one absolutely selfish friend that a man had in an unselfish world, the one that never deserts him, the one that never proves ungrateful or treacherous, is his dog. A man's dog stands by him in prosperity and in poverty, in health and in sickness. He will sleep on the cold ground where the wintry wind blows and the snow drives fiercely, if only he may be near to his master's side. He will kiss the hand that has no food to offer. He will lick the wounds and sores that come in encounters with roughness of the world. He guards the sleep of his pauper master as if he were a prince. When all other friends deserts, he remains. When riches take wings and reputation falls to pieces, he is as constant in his love as the sun in its journey through the heavens. If fortune drives the master forth, an outcast in the world, friendliness and homeless, the faithful dog asks no higher privilege than that of accompanying him, to guard him against danger and to fight against his enemies. And when the last sin of all comes, and the death takes his master in its embrace, and his body is laid away in a cold ground, no matter if all other friends pursue their way, there by graveside will noble dog be found, his head between his paws, his eyes sad, but open in alert watchfulness, faithful and true even in his death. Thank you.
407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived of liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But, in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated here, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will ill know nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here
have thus far so nobly advanced. It is for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from this honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause, for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that this dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
There are many people who are listening right now, maybe a friend of mine or a friend. But whether you like it or not, I'm giving my speech for peace. If you look up for the word peace in the dictionary, chances are good to say something about tranquility and non-violence. If you search for a synonym, it might even say a truce. I think peace is far more than just a truce. A truce, in my mind, is an agreement to stop fighting. If you are to achieve peace, you must every day make a difference. Peace begins with a smile. I absolutely agree. This instant smile can light up a room. So imagine what the word smiles can do. And every day someone does something right for someone. It will create a ripple effect. Think of when you drop a stone in a pan. It generates a small ripple at first, but after a while, the little ripple has spread throughout the entire pan. Now think of world peace. If someone apologizes to someone else, and you do the same, imagine what you can achieve. Yeah, many people know its definition, but only a few understand. Peace is the mother of progress. Without peace, a nation cannot make any progress. So peace is ever desirable. Peace is the feeling that's alright with the world. How do I feel? When everyone around me in my family, my circle of friends, and my neighborhood is happy, eager to laugh, absent and relate, I feel at peace. Also to me, it means following what my heart says and sharing mutual trust and respect for people around me. Peace starts with me, so I end my speech by convening everyone to feel smile. You know what to say. Peace begins with a smile. Thank you.
The very first book that my mom read to me was The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein, which was about a boy and a tree who grew up together. When the boy was young, he used to pluck leaves from the tree and stitch them into a crown, pretending to be king of the jungle by eating its apples. The tree was happy, but they both grew and the boy left. Years passed and the boy finally returned. The tree told him to come and play, but the boy was already a man and only needed the money and the house. The tree said, "I don't have money. I only have leaves and apples. Take my apples and sell them in the city. Then you will have money and be happy." And so the boy did, and the tree was happy. And as for the house, he told the boy to cut her branches off so he could build a roof over his head. And so the boy did, and the tree was happy. It took the boy half a lifetime to come back, and the tree to ask him to play. But by then, the boy was already sad and old. He just wanted to build a boat to take him far away. So the tree told him to cut her trunk down so he could build a boat. And so the boy did. He left with the trunk. The tree was sad to see him away, but she was happy. I grew up with this story in my head, and for the longest time, I thought it was about a boy who was never satisfied. But it was only recently that I realized that the moral of the story wasn't about selfishness, but about selflessness. It wasn't about the tree. It was about the boy. It was about growth and about giving. My fellow graduates, like how all trees began, we were planted in this university. We started as seedlings, shy little freshmen, afraid of speaking up in class, and secretly bringing questions like, "Ano yung blue book? Topi o ikot? Sino si Professor TBA sa CRS?" But slowly, we took root in this university. We learned the unable props and terrors, that would teach us the best lessons. We learned how to beg, pre-rug for classes. Our language slowly evolved to kamusta, to ano natin. Naturally, as MASCOM students, we learned how to use words, hegemony, kebs, semiotics, tsaka hypodermic needle theory in a sentence. We became experts in balancing extracurricular work with academics, with some of us majoring in arts. After all sleepless nights, finishing schoolworks or artwork in our college, UP became home, literally, whether we like it or not. Yet, there were frustrations over cramped rods, which were still rendering 5 minutes over the deadline. There were 100-page articles that we needed to read overnight, which stayed with coffee, our ears, or our drools. There were sleepless sleepovers, revisions after revision. For my fellow film students, there were 29-hour shoot without sleep or bathing. And most of all, there was self-doubt and fear of not being good enough. But then, here lies this undeniable fact. Like the tree, we grew. Our education is not determined by our grades, but what we experience in the process of getting them. And we learn, in truest way possible, that there is growth in every struggle. Now, my fellow graduates, I share with you this great joy and fulfillment in knowing that you've overcome a part of it. Congratulations. But remember, the struggle continues outside the confines of this university. It continues through the struggle against killing of journalists, against hegemony, unemployment, poverty, censorship, against gender, racial, and religious discrimination, against all forms of violence, injustices, and oppression. The struggle against the violation of the rights we were promised as Filipinos and human beings, etc., and the list goes on. CMC taught us to see beyond what lies between our fields of vision. Once our eyes were opened to the possibilities and to what exists beyond the comfort of this university, it is difficult to stop asking questions. Where are we now? Where are we going? And the most relevant question that we all face now, what does it truly mean to be called Scholar ng Bayan? Is it about having the courage to go out on the streets and to demand our justice? Is it about the grades that we got? Is it about the academic freedom and liberty to speak our minds? It's impossible to say that we form an encompassing definition of what Scholar ng Bayan is. The definition of a Scholar ng Bayan should be fulfilled and justified, even more so when we step out of this university. Honor and excellence are only first part of the equation. The second part is character, the third is purpose. What will we do once we march out of this university? Who will we allow ourselves to become? Will we become the boy or the tree? On this soil we are rooted. This is all we have grown. But it is time to let our branches stretch beyond UP. And it is my deepest hope that we become just like the giving tree. I read somewhere that your calling lies in the intersection of what the world needs and what we love doing. Whatever course you've accomplished, I sincerely hope that your heart is in it. If it is not, have courage to go after your passions. Number 7. One of the things I've learned from shifting from one course to another is that there are no substitute for dreams. Whatever dream that may be, make it mean something to others. As future or current media practitioners, write or shoot the Filipino experience. No act is too small because seeds grow where they are planted. So go! contribute to the world through what we have and what we can do in best way that we can have. And we can all be trees in the forest. Some of us have to be paper, furniture, apples, foundations, or even maybe become seeds again. So I pose this question once again. What does it truly mean to be scholar ng bayan? It's different for each one of us, but let this be our common denominator. Our desire to share our fruits of our dreams as unconditionally the way the tree exhausted itself for others. The giving tree ends with the boy's return. Old and tired, he comes back to the tree, and the boy tells the tree that he simply wants to rest. The tree, ever so giving, offers what's left of herself. A stump. The boy sits on the stump, and guess what? The tree was happy. Fellow graduates, as we reflect on hardships and victories we underwent during our stay in UP, I hope you realize and bring to life the most important lesson of the giving tree. The tree grew in order to give more. It grew and became more than a tree. It became a house, a boat, a companion. Let us never stop growing so we will never stop giving and vice versa. Our college is called College of Mass Communication, meaning it is now our job to reach out to the people through what we produce, whatever, in words, in pictures, or in moving images. Again, congratulations, CMC 2015 graduates. It is my deepest hope that, like the tree, we become selfless enough to give ourselves to others. Happiness and fulfillment doesn't come from being complete. They come from knowing that we have made others full. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. These are not my note cards. You guys know me. I said I would keep it very short, very simple, but after seeing that video, and I realized how much support that I have in my corner. First of all, I want to thank Kia and all of the riders and all of the voters and everyone you know who voted me to this year's most valuable player. I really appreciate it. Every time the media asks me, a question or anything about me as a player, I say I just try to be the best player on the court every single night. When I step on the court, and I have been, I guess, rewarded every time they ask me that question. So I want to thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I promise Kia is here. You guys notice me wearing this like this. I promise fan every single game, and it's because of these kids right here. I promise that I would never let these kids down ever. And whatever I do, on and off the floor, and I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank the parents and Desiree, you're awesome, and thank you so much the LeBron James Family Foundation. Thank you. This organization, Mickey, Nick, Pat, Spoke, the coaching staff, the training staff, without you guys, I'm not able to perform the way I do each every night, and you guys put me in a position up here today. So thank you. That's it.
I say to you today, my friends, even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of this creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slaves owners will be able to sit down together at the table of the brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin,
but by the content of their character. I have a dream. I have a dream that one day in Alabama, with its vicious races, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day, right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all the flesh shall see it together. Thank you.
Sometimes, you open yourself up to a person because you feel and believe that they're different, and maybe this time, they won't break your heart, and that your love will be requited. So you go out on a limb and open up so much of yourself to this person. Things that you're afraid to tell others about because of fear of being judged or rejected. But there's just something about this person that allows you to tell them everything. You become so comfortable in the presence of that person that you openly admit your flaws. You don't hide it. You just completely use yourself in love and in thought and concept of being loved, of being in a relationship, and of being with someone that you can be yourself with. The idea of the person that just completely excites you and everything about them makes you happy. You learn to love this person and you accept their flaws and differences. You accept how they may not necessarily love eating McDonald's as much as you do, or they are crazy about sci-fi movies where you can't even get yourself past watching a chick flick. But that's just it. You don't mind. You don't mind because love is about sacrifices. It's about sacrificing your weekly episode of The Vampire Diaries to watch the most recent sport update. Because you'd rather lose the argument than to lose the person. You'd sacrifice a part of your daily routine all for love. The worst part is that nothing is guaranteed. You're not guaranteed how long you will be in a relationship with this person. You're not guaranteed complete happiness, and you're not guaranteed that things are going to be perfect. You just have to trust this person and have faith. Believe the best and hope that everything will work out for the best. Believe that even if you break up with this person, that you're going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay, and that new beginnings are perfectly acceptable. Believe that you're going to overcome heartbreak of any kind. You just have to believe that someone out there is looking for someone like you. What others see wrong in you just might the exact thing that will make someone else fall in love with you. And you need to be realistic. Not all relationships last forever. Some relationships are there for lessons and experiences. So that very person that you completely open yourself up to can break your heart. It could be during or even after the relationship. But it's part of life, I guess. You'll never know how to love someone wholeheartedly if you haven't been hurt before. You just have to turn your heartbreak into something positive. Make the most out of your situation. See the light in the darkness, but learn to deal with things too. Find closure in what happened to you, and don't leave a relationship with unfinished business. Because unfinished business will have to be finished sooner or later. And I think sooner is better. Allow yourself time to heal too. Opening yourself up to someone that much can hurt you a lot. Everything you had with the person will be completely lost in an instant. And you're gonna need to come to terms with that. Remember that meant to be will be. Love is a complicated thing, and you're never quite sure how things could possibly turn out to be. You're just gonna go out on a limb each time, hoping for the best and patiently waiting for your happily ever after with a special person.
Love is a complex perplexity that has been defined by countless people, yet no one has ever been close in grasping its true nature. One may turn to his or her dictionary to look for the meaning. However, even the dictionary cannot define this exactly. We then ask, how will we know if we're ready in love? If we ourselves cannot even identify. It is an intricate question indeed. We often confuse love with various feelings like lust and infatuation. Back in our elementary days, we had our own crushes and immediately thought it was love. Hence, the catchphrase, I am in love with you, and the ever popular love at first sight. People carry the belief until they grow up. They are being blinded by this sad thing. What they don't know is that it's not love. In fact, it is called infatuation. We know it's infatuation since infatuation is distinguished by a lack of trust, loyalty, commitment, and reciprocity. In addition, there is the presence of the obsessor and the apple of the eye, which force may or may not be attained. For kids, there's infatuation. However, for young adults and adults alike, there is lust. Lust is also known as lechery. It's an impure act that involves one's desire of the flesh of another. Lust is prevalent in teenagers and adults alike. Whenever they see an attractive person, they feel infatuated and afterward think of unclean thoughts involving them and the concerned person. What is sad about this is that once their desires have been met, they grow tired and eventually leave their partners. What really is love then? Is it safe to say that love is anything that doesn't fall under infatuation and lust? Love is definitely a deeper feeling. On the contrary, infatuation and lust are simply feelings that are too shallow. Love is simply too complex to be talked about. Subsequently, many people still end up being perplexed by love. This makes love a very special feeling. And really, it gives one an experience that no other feelings could give, and that include lust and infatuation. When everything is said and done, we can all say that love is indeed a wonderful feeling which can be talked about for a very long time. Thank you.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this covenant invitation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, and long and true. We are met on a great battlefield of darkness. We have come to dedicate a portion of that faith as a final resting place for those who here give their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a large sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, and we cannot follow this law. The brave men living in death who struggled here have consecrated him. Far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little know nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work, which they who fought here have thus so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from this honored dead, with taking great devotion to that cause for which they gave the last measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that this dead shall not have died again, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people,
for the people shall not perish from it. Life is precious. It is God's gift to you. It is so unique that there is no one else on earth like you. There never was and there never will be. Life again is an opportunity. It is an opportunity to do good. Therefore, it does not matter how long you live. All that matters is how well you live and how many lives you are able to touch with love and encouragement. Another thought is that life is always shadowed by death. All people have to face it. He or she is a wise man or woman who is prepared to meet death when it comes. It is a sense of readiness. It is also an expectation to pass through the bridge of death to eternal life. Interestingly, the secret of life is best revealed to those who are not bound by their possessions. They are untouched by worry and changing fortunes of life. They are people who do not live by adding things of life, but by measuring their life by things they can do without. Life above all is a stewardship. It is a trust entrusted to you. Such an understanding of life makes you keenly aware that you are answerable to God for all the time, talent, treasure, opportunity He has given to you with. This is in tune with the biblical truth that man is destined to die once, and after that, to face judgment. The balancing truth is that wrongs faced in this world will be made right, that God will wipe every tear from the eyes of His children, and good dawn will be rewarded. It is this hope that makes life worth living, and it is in loving relationships nurtured within family and friendships that makes life beautiful. Life is also made purposeful by knowing one's role in one's family or one's place of work or society at large and playing that role well. Finally, there is an irresistible hope at the end of life's journey for those who have trusted the one who said, "I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live even though he dies, and whoever lives and believes in me will never die." Is there a better hope in life than this? Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Dr. Ferdinand J. Farial, CEO of the school, Ma'am Josefina A. Valguero, parents and students, good morning everyone. Today, we celebrate our graduates as they finish the Citizens Advancement Training required by the Department of Education for all fourth-year high school students, and I think the CAT graduation is just proper because I want to highlight how important is the CAT course to our vision and to have strong republic. To strengthen our republic, it is important that we engage the support of the people by enhancing civil-military relations. We want to review the Reservist and Reserve Force Development Program of the AFP, the ROTC, and the other similar programs like the CAT consistent with the doctrine of a citizen's army enshrined in the Constitution. I want to thank my Battalion Commander John Gabriel D. Versosa, Staff Sergeant Lorraine Lacuesta, Staff Sergeant Brian Yadaw, Staff Sergeant Richard Yong, and Staff Sergeant Arbet Sabial, all company commanders, platoon leaders, and our color officers for helping our graduates to achieve this kind of achievement. We, the St. Joseph School of Fairview, Incorporated, are thanking the parents of our students for trusting us. Once again, congratulations, and you, our young people, seize the value of education and use this school to advance yourselves and the nation. Your CAT training, my dear young graduates, will help you advance our nation to prosperity. Congratulations and maraming salamat sa inyo.